You know, we're trying to come together here. All right, we're bridging gaps. uh, yeah. So from a player standpoint, respect, 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 and seems like an accountability page of some sort could help with this. Pay-in tournaments could help with this as well, though that would have to be delicately handled. I do worry about once you start getting money involved, you start bringing out even more. You start bringing out even more of the vile people out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think pay-in tournaments have to be very carefully
Yeah,
organized.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of, time to do that sort of thing. Like, absolutely it does.
And that's part of the struggle here, right? Is getting this ball rolling. It's so hard. I couldn't imagine trying to organize a tournament on my own or something of that nature. I have mad respect for these guys. I mean, Carrot, D9, Danny DeFito, CCO. I mean, there were the Gillespie tournament was pretty good. I mean, there's a lot
We
of
have GCL coming up now.
so there's a lot of people trying to keep the scene alive and trying to organize tournaments out there, and I couldn't imagine trying to put something like that on.
No, absolutely. I absolutely agree. It's very, very tricky to do something like that.
And I think it would be okay. This is a pretty out there idea, but what if we had a tournament organizers team where these guys can all communicate? And I mean, obviously, CGL is your big one in the scene. That takes up the most time. It's no one's gonna, as Carrot has mentioned, no one's gonna want to schedule a tournament while CGL is going on. That's counterproductive. We're not trying to steal viewers away from each other. We're all just trying to elevate this scene. But if perhaps they were all on the same page, and it's almost like a tournament organizers union, and get calendars worked out. Now, granted, this is. I know it's a pretty far-fetched idea. You're going to have to get, I think, pride probably put aside in a lot of places, and everybody come together to make one functional unit year-round as a scene, as opposed to all these little individual pieces. I don't know, just a thought. Because it's CGL.
I definitely like the idea. It's kind of like a larger scale CST.
Yeah, but
except instead of streaming, it's tournaments.
For organizers, straight up for organizers.
Yeah. So basically, you go to one person and they put it down on the calendar, and then the whole entire calendar is like set up.
Correct. So that all the organizers can look at that and see. I know it's never going to happen, Carrot. I told you it's a far-fetched idea.
It's never going to happen.
But I'm throwing it out there. All right, I'm just putting it out there. You got to put.
Unless the greatest organizer ever stepped forward, Knight
Rider. You gotta put the idea out there. All right, Mr. Humble. And then maybe some seed. hey, you just called yourself the greatest organizer ever. I mean, what? You didn't expect a response off of that?
You're right.
But anyway, if some iota of this grander idea can make its way into our scene, then I think it could be beneficial. But how awesome would that be if all of these different tournament organizers could look at a 2020 calendar, exactly when things are scheduled to happen across the board, exactly when CGL is going to start, when it's going to end. Now, granted, there are factors out of people's hands. I know CGL is waiting on a Blizzard license right now, and that's thrown off their timetable. And so there are always going to be factors you can't control. But at least then you've got a skeleton. You've got a blanket. This is when it's supposed to happen. I don't know. That almost seems like
proper window scheduled for.
Yeah.
If you have a proper window.
Yes.
If you give yourself this 4 or 5 month window, because the multi-tier tournament does take quite a bit of time. That's the other thing. These Mortal Kombat tournaments that I see up there, and I'm not dissing the FGC for anything with the CGL, but we're putting months of work into what we do, and It's not. I feel like we're just getting the lower end of the deal. That's me. Whereas you can go for a couple days, play on a LAN or whatever, and it's
Well, that's why we're here.
so much more profitable. So I mean that's where I'm coming from on my standpoint is that remember the roots. Remember the roots of where we came from.
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of why we're here, is we want to get Overwatch up to that
here.
level. Yeah. No, I understand, Billy. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah,
I
I remember.
To be fair, low key, that's kind of what CST is doing, because we have a list.
Yeah,
Right, but it's
we do.
this is a good step from a production standpoint. We've talked a lot about the tournament organizer's point of view, the perspective of the player. We haven't really touched on production, and I think this is a wonderful community for that. And it's one of the things I really like about it is it's given us a one-stop shop for, hey, we know what tournaments are coming up. We know what our schedule looks like. We know how much talent we have on hand and available to do these various tournaments. And that's definitely very helpful. I mean, I definitely think there's things we could do to improve from a production standpoint, but I think we're doing them. I know personally, the casters that are part of this team are working very hard to really step up our game here in the off season, and it's all about improving. It's all about elevating the scene. It's all about for me. It's all about elevating the product for CGL, and that's something that I was telling writers that I want CGL's casting to be so much better, and with the new stipulations that have come out. Those of us that don't necessarily have the huge setups are going to be put to the side. And it's not that we're not going to be getting the cast games, and I understand that, but we're not getting what we have bust our ass for in the off season to get better. Because I am 5,000 miles away from the caster that I was when CGL season 6 ended. I am so far removed from that caster that I am now. I've found identity. You and I have both worked with some of the bigger names in casting. Yeah.
We didn't even mention Source. Throw us a VOD. Let's see what you do. I mean, so we've got big names that you and I have personally gone out and reached out to and gotten help from to lift the scene.
Quick tease: there might be VODs from Bupasaurus and Leg Day in the works. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. I've had contact with both of them. Both of them have agreed to do VOD reviews. So it's just a matter.
Fantastic. So I mean, there's more.
We're just gonna keep it going. More. Yeah, we're just gonna keep it going.
I think that we need to have just like the Overwatch League does. I think that the CGL for the premium or elite level, whatever they decide to call it, I think that we need to have casting duos instead of throwing two people together just because they can work together on the same day. I think that needs to happen.
Set casting duos are tough. Agreed.
You can carry a cast. I know that I can carry a cast. I know that Ryder can carry a cast. I know that Ocean can carry a cast. I know that Corbeck can carry a cast.
For sure.
But okay, so I mean, I'm throwing out names that aren't affiliated with us. There are people out there that can carry a cast by themselves.
Oh yeah, no, I mean Basic was very capable. It's a shame that we won't be seeing him this season.
I know, I miss Basic, and it is a shame, and I loved his energy. Him and Ocean were just they were the first dynamic.
The season off.
Yeah, Basic's taking the season off.
He is taking the season off.
Last I knew, he was trying to come back.
Yeah, he forgo that pretty quick.
Yep.
That's quite unfortunate.
I mean, it's his senior year of high school, so I mean,
yeah.
He's got a lot going on, and he's got a lot going on in his personal life. And Basic, if you're watching, we absolutely love you, buddy. You gave me my first cat. Yeah. I mean, I'm so far removed from that person that I was because of Ocean and Basic. I did some casts with Ocean too, still thinking he was an e-girl.
No,
I thought he was an Irish lass. I thought he was an
smelly.
Irish lass. He's smelly. He's got toes. But
fun fact: Hex called him a her when he first said something. I had to correct him.
Oh my god.
No,
that's
he didn't.
He did.
great.
He
Everybody,
did.
no,
He did.
everybody has. Everybody has.
He did.
But I mean, I think that okay. Getting back to the production though, I think that our production value comes in the fact that we do have people that know how to do the overlays. I mean, look at your overlays. That I just don't need to say anything else.
I appreciate it, but I think they can get better.
We all can get better. I'm getting better every single day.
Yeah, I feel the same way about myself.
It's a human condition to try and get better, be better than yourself the day before. But you know, I think that the casting duos for these elite games, I think, is going to bring up our production value, and after sober consideration of, you know, them saying that they're going to require to have faces for these casts, you know, yeah, I mean, but how much do you actually see of Hexagrams and Ankylios or Tempo and Semler? I mean, how much do you see of the casters other than in between maps? You don't see them.
Well, no,
hear
but
them.
I think that's what they're referring to, though, is if we're at a map pool screen or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I would model it after the way, you know, Broadcast GG has kind of set up their stuff, because, you know, they've worked with a lot of, you know, casters from home kind of situations. And, you know, in between matches, when you're doing post-match stuff, or, you know, you're talking about the map, you could have face cams up there. And I do
Lemon Kiwi is a boss at that. Lemon Kiwi is one of my favorites to watch.
Lemon Kiwi is just a boss, period.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the Bupasaurus tandem is also also awesome as well. I love seeing their cut screen stuff.
That's your NA Contenders casters, for those of you who don't know.
Yes.
Are Lemon and Boop.
Yes. And then, I mean, Big Hungry Phil is my personal favorite because, first of all, he's British, and I just love British accents, and he's easy on the eyes. But he's actually, he comes from where we came from. He came from PS4.
He comes from console. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I have followed him so closely, is because he has taken the path that I'm wanting to take. And that's why I try to pattern myself after him, even though he is more of a play-by-play person. I'm more of a color person, for those that don't understand. Play-by-play is obviously what it is. Color is the analyst. I'm more the analyst kind of person, because I just cannot. I am not. My ADHD isn't on the level of Bull Skunk's. He does it so much better. I'm better after the fight.
I'm not particularly great at color, so there you go.
But I think those are things that we need to have. I think you know, and maybe even having a CGL jersey on, or maybe a CGL hoodie or something. I don't know. Putting the brand up there, you know, repping the merch.
Well, and that's you actually bring up just a small point on that. One thing, if we are, you know, once we get into this next CGL season, I said but when we start getting into this next CGL season, I think, you know, dressing nice, putting on Sunday best. I think that's a big part of it. I mean, I'll probably put on a suit coat or something to elevate the professionalism, because I'm going to be on camera for, you know, what is a professional broadcast, for what is for me a professional broadcast. Mm-hmm. And you know, I don't want to be sitting there in just a t-shirt and jeans. And so I
will definitely put a dress shirt on. I think I am going to put a dress shirt on, a button-down shirt.
Yeah.
I've actually thought about this too. Here's a hot take though. We do all of this for free.
Of course.
And we take a lot of time out of our personal schedules. I think that we should have some kind of either endorsement or something for the casters that do this. And I mean, there are times that we get yelled at and shit on, and cussed out, and
sorry. Budget Carey just commented, "You wear pants when you stream? Weird champ." I do, but not when I cast. Wait. Whoa. Okay.
Hairy legs and toes.
That's funny.
No, I think you know, like I said, we do this. We're doing it because we're trying to further wherever we decide to take our path. I know that my path is pretty much the same thing, but oh Lord, no, I just saw it.
It does get a bit intense. It does get a bit intense.
Trying to be serious here.
Yes, serious faces.
I love you. Serious face. As I say it in my red shorts. So, I think that I think that we have to have, some kind of, whether it be, a shirt, a T-shirt, or a hat.
Oh no, I'm all on board. All CGO casters need jerseys.
Give us a jersey. Give us a button down. Give me a.
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at
a
you.
Short sleeve polo shirt.
Dude, polos would be awesome. Like the coaches' shirts you see now. Hell yeah.
Yeah. That's, I mean,
A polo shirt with just a little CGO logo. Yes, I think that would be tight. I would rock that for sure. I would absolutely rep that.
I would absolutely rock it. I would make sure that my head is powdered nicely so the light does not shine off of it.
But there's definitely
that's
back to more serious topics as far as getting set casting pairs to try to elevate our scene, and so you have identifiable casting pairs, which is the way things are done in basically every other Overwatch scenario. You never see contenders casters flipped around at all. Obviously, you don't see it on the OWL stage, but even with contenders casters, now sometimes with broadcast GG, now see that's where I would hate to limit a caster who wants to put the time in, who is available and ready to go, and say nope, you can't cast tonight. Your partner's not available. So I would worry when it gets into a little bit of that detail. I mean, I know I for one like to cast as much as humanly possible. Like as long as it's a game of Overwatch, I really don't mind. I mean, prefer a 6v6 of some sort. I'm not a big fan of casting, Widow 1v1s or anything. But as far as a straight 6v6, like I don't care what characters are being played. I love the opportunity to get out there and do my thing and practice my craft. And now I just hate to be restricted, by who's available. But I mean, good organization could overcome that. So that is a problem that could be solved by just having a well-organized, well-oiled machine.
Absolutely. And I just think it adds to the overall value of what CGL is trying to put out there.
I can't argue with that. It does look a lot more professional if you know exactly the duo you're getting. Plus, like you say, it gives you the chance to build synergy, to build identity. I mean, I have some counterpoints, but not very many, and they're not very strong. I mean, I think it's a good idea.
But I think also getting the less experienced casters in with a seasoned veteran is also a great thing. But I think that can be done outside of the elite channels. I think that can absolutely be done outside of the tier 4, tier 5, or the select tier 3 matches, or the highly beefed matches that we're going to see with tier 2 and tier 1. Tier 1 has some really evil rivalries. You'll see it. And to kind of piggyback from a statement that Ryder said about 30 minutes ago, Tier 1, I've been in Tier 1 since I joined CGL. This is actually my first year in season in Tier 2. Tier 1 is one of the most highly competitive tiers of CGL. I mean, yeah, we're not as mechanically gifted. We're not as coordinated, but we still go out there. We still play the game with the same passion and the same determination to win that Tier 5 and now Tier 6 have. And I mean, Tier 2 is just slightly better than Tier 1. And my Tier 1 team that I played for gave a lot of Tier 2 teams a run for their money. So I mean, we don't suck. We just aren't as good, as coordinated and with the comms and everything else like that. I mean, it's a whole grab bag thing. But I mean, the entertainment value is still there. You're seeing 6-man diva bombs where you don't see that in Grandmaster unless it's like a perfectly coordinated, EMP shatter bomb. So,
unless you're playing against the Dallas Fuel.
You can see it. You can see, yeah, you can see a key style, diva bomb out of nowhere. So I mean, yeah, I mean, throwing a seasoned veteran in with a newcomer, I think I relish those times. I have fun with them because I get to kind of impart, my
Oh,
old ass wisdom.
yeah, I love the idea.
Yeah.
I love being a mentor. I love the thought that I'm
Mhm.
helping somebody to pursue their dreams and to kind of come into their own a bit. Like that's just a magical feeling.
It's what
Um,
Basic did for me, and even
yeah,
Ocean to a lesser effect. Basic brought me into the stream team, and helped. And I mean, I think I did one cast with Ryder. We had a blast, and I think it was Ryder that got me laughing on a stream once, and I'm like, oh, am I allowed to do that? And he just like, yeah, you're allowed to laugh. And so from that point, I mean, that's why I are so very close that I've been streaming with or casting with him, even though we didn't do it a lot together. We did it for a long time. That's the other thing is that, and I'm rambling on here, but there are a lot of us that have been doing this together for almost 2 years now, and that's got to count for something.
yeah. No, and that's and not building on that synergy and not trying to create more of that synergy, I think would absolutely be a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, finding ways we could hone it. I personally, I mean, I would not mind having my standard casting duo. Billy, say me and you are handling whatever the tier 5 scene or something, and then for tier 2 matches, I would not mind casting those as well. I don't know how they're going to handle that. But as far as, then I could cast with, maybe somebody who's not as experienced and have that mentor role casting a tier 2 match, and then your set duos cast the higher tier matches. But I'm not privy to exactly how they're organizing things just yet, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to roll out. But I think it's good ideas. I think it's very good ideas.
What do you think, Ryder?
I mean, I definitely like being able to teach people. I love it. I've been a teacher, a mentor. I've been a student. I've learned. My mentor was Swift.
It's a good mentor.
And then my first casting partner was the lovely Rin.
Oh, nice.
Rinny Poo.
I love Rin. She's my streaming waifu.
I'm surprised she's not in here right now. I'm surprised she's not in chat right now.
Right.
I think
Normally,
she's in
if I'm
a
talking
scrim.
about her, normally if I'm talking about her, she always pops in for some reason. And then I haven't been in casting for since before CGL ended, mainly because I was in the playoffs, so it was no I couldn't cast. There was no time for me to do it. Being in playoffs, you're concentrating fully on finals or trying to get to finals, and it is what it is. I definitely miss it.
There's one thing I've learned. There will always be more opportunities to cast if you really want to.
Oh, absolutely. There's always opportunities.
Hey, I've gotten where I am without casting a single CGL match, so just keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
A lot of thanks to Munching Carrot, as a matter of fact. He gave me my first. He gave me my first opportunity.
Yeah.
CXL
like I
back
said.
in May. It was, I had cast nothing but pickup games, and yeah, Carrot was bold enough to bring me on as a newbie first time caster.
Yes, Carrot.
Good
Xbox
job,
party.
Carrot. You've doomed us all. Just kidding.
Yeah, so when I burn the world down, you have nothing
Just
but
no gas.
no one but Carrot to blame. All right, we're gonna get him an invite. Let's get him in here for a little closing thoughts from our friend Munching Carrot.
That's a poor life choice.
Y'all talk amongst yourselves for a second. Let me get him in here. Da, 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 da. Y'all are not doing a very good job of talking amongst yourselves, so just throw that out there.
You know how I my Discord stuff and whatever.
No, I know. I'm
do it all
just
night.
teasing. I'm just
Don't
teasing.
Stop making fun of me. No. Yeah, I mean, I think this needed to be this is a talk that needed to happen. And I hope that some of the powers that be are watching. I hope Headrammer maybe is out there watching. I just saw something on Twitter that, kind of feeds into this whole conversation that we just said, how are we going to hold the orgs responsible when they do certain things? And I don't want to call it out, but man, yikers, what I just saw. Did you see it, Ryder?
Where at?
On Twitter.
I am not on Twitter right now. My phone's at 5%.
Rip.
I'm loading it up right now.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna send it to you in a message.
Okay, wait. Are we talking about?
Oh,
There we go.
Yeah, I'm seeing it right now.
Are you seeing it now?
Oops.
Yeah.
I'm not saying names. I'm not saying names.
I won't
I'm
pull
not
it up
gonna
on
say
stream.
names either.
Yeah, but Munching did. I just hope they didn't hear it.
Hello? All right. Am I back?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
live. Welcome to the stream,
Hello.
my friend.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hi,
Carrot.
Carrot. What's going on there, feller?
Nothing much.
Oh, little fella.
That's me.
So, you said you had lots of stuff to say. Where should we start?
So I don't know. I started watching a bit ago, like right after 5, and you guys started streaming. But crap! I switched off my phone, so I lost my chat replay. So basically, at the very beginning, when I was saying CGL is a monopoly, they do. There's nothing we can do. When I tried to host CXL for the first time, I put out the announcement April. Me and Clips were sitting down March 30th of 2019, talking about how we should just run a meme league, right? And then we created the server on April 1st. I think we put out signups April 10th or something like that. We got 12 teams to sign up. Of course, none of those teams, except for maybe one, were in the finals of CGL. So all of the postseason teams of CGL, the most competitive that had already made playoffs and everything like that, weren't going to be in CXL. And I was like, you know what? I can understand that they want to focus on CGL. Whatever, right?
Yeah, I assume they overlapped.
Yeah, they overlapped a little bit.
Yeah.
At least with the postseason.
Right.
That's why we got 12 teams in general, right? And the first stage, what we called it, went pretty good. We had 2 tiers. Some of it was back and forth and whatnot, teams splitting and everything like that. The admins were kind of scuffed. But other than that, it went well. We had a small stream team of Zoc. And I think it was just Zoc.
It was Zoc and Zoc.
Yeah. I think Taki might have done a game or 2. But that was about it.
Hey, I did a couple games.
Did you do the first time?
No,
Stage?
it was second stage. You're right. It was second stage.
Yeah.
Wait, was it?
I don't remember.
I think I did a couple for first stage, actually. Maybe one for first stage.
Oh, okay. And so basically we did that, right? And then I don't even remember when the second stage started. It was like, crap, I might have it in my Google Drive somewhere.
Shoot, may have it in my my video history.
CXL Stage 2. This thing started in August, okay? So the first one was 5 weeks, 5 stage. And then, or 5-week stage, we had the finals, I think Chaotic Tier 4 1, and Illusion Tier 2 1. Because we had to do like Tier 4 and Tier 3 together, because there weren't that many signups. And then in the second stage, we did it the reverse, where we had Tier 4 have 6 teams, and there was a Tier 2/Tier 3 division. And then we didn't get like nearly enough signups then, because everyone was anticipating CGL to start by the time CXL had started.
Right.
So the only people that really wanted to do anything were people that were just trying out. You know, I said they're basically just free scrim books, you know, like guaranteed scrim books, but still people didn't try out or people didn't do it. So CGL basically has a monopoly on teams and orgs. Like, I have not seen Excalibur in one tournament since CGL ended.
I don't even know who that is.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've never even heard of them. Oh, and to answer the question, it looks like I casted 3 matches at the end of stage 1, or season 1 is when I cast for you.
So it was a while ago. So.
Yeah, it was June.
Yeah.
It was June
But,
into early July, actually. Those are my first tournament matches.
With the whole buy-in tournament, Knight
Yes.
Riders, wasn't D9 supposed to be a buy-in tourney?
It was.
What happened to that?
It was bought in. Someone paid for y'all. There was a sponsor.
I guess, but like the prize pool wasn't as big as it would have been with a buy-in tourney, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely agreed. One person paid enough. That General decided that it was good enough.
I mean, was that pretty much the entirety of the prize pool? Was just with that one person donated?
Yeah.
And who even got that prize pool? Because there's 3 winners. Was it just the tier 4 winners?
I could not tell you. I have no idea about that at all.
Who even won tier 4? Was that Kinetics?
Kinetics.
Yeah, it was.
The only thing Kinetics hasn't won is the Goats tournament. But I mean,
anyway.
I think the buy-ins are an interesting idea, and I agree with the fact that it would keep teams more accountable. But it's again, I mean, that's something that has to be really carefully done, or you're just going to encourage more cheating and more smurfing and more problems, unless the framework is there to account for all of these things appropriately. I mean, so I think it's a step in the right direction, but I mean, like, do contenders teams have to pay to be a part of contenders? Oops, sorry, I bumped my mic. I mean, like, that's... So it's that's a tough call. I think there's definitely some benefits there, but that would have to be really, really carefully handled.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Who's spitting something in their mic?
What is that?
Yeah, that's... Carrot, that's got to stop. It's just creating a lot of background noise, that's all.
I'll fight you, Carrot.
That assumes that he would actually be able to put up a fight.
Probably pass out.
Carrot passed out.
Critical hit.
Somebody from the outside, but who's still very familiar with tournament organizing and production, Carrot, what do you have any advice on what we could do to help elevate production from our point of view?
God, I wish there were more face cams for casters.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
God,
there will be.
I wish people used Discord instead of Xbox parties.
Ew. Why?
I disagree on that one.
Yeah.
Because Xbox Mic Delay and Xbox Party Chat is just so bad. Or even TeamSpeak. It's a better program than Discord.
TeamSpeak. I could see us going to TeamSpeak. Now, that's actually a good idea. That's actually a good idea.
I don't even know what that is.
It's just another... like communication.
It's the original.
Yeah, it's the original. Well, it's not the
voice
original.
It's been
IRC,
one of the major ones.
Yeah,
for a
IRC
while.
I think was your original.
You know who I'd like to see in here? Who I just saw pop online is Swift.
Oh, I would love to get Swift's opinion on this. Shoot him a message. If
I don't think he would join me. I mean, I can absolutely try. Give me a sec.
Because I love Chris, first of all, and well,
thank you.
You're
I love
both
you
Chris.
too.
You're both Chris.
But I think
I love first names. I do.
I think it would be kind of symbolic that we're all trying to come together to elevate this scene.
It's just, you know, I really want to touch. I'd love to get his ideas, because I know that he stepped away and kind of passed over the baton to skate action. And I know that because we don't have any firm dates and anything like that, that's why we haven't had any like stream meetings and stuff like that.
Well, they haven't got their license yet, right? Isn't everything on hold until Blizzard comes through with the tournament license?
Until we get, and because it's a custom license because of the size. That's the other thing that I got to throw out there. There's a big caveat to all of this. Is that our little community has gone from, Chris, help me out. We went from like 24 or 30 teams up to over 200 in one season.
Oh God, it was
That's
insane.
nutty.
I will tell you right now, absolutely just monstrous.
The growth from season 5 to season 6 was stupid. When they rebranded to CGL and got their website and got the Discord and got everything all in line, the community exploded, and they did it perfectly. I just don't think they were prepared for the growth as fast as it happened.
Right.
But I mean, so the same small staff that they had from season 5 was all of a sudden thrust into this tempest of what 4,000 players or 3,000 players. Now we're over 6,000 players, I think,
God,
for CGL.
man. That's a lot.
So
It's getting up there.
you know, it's getting up there. This is just for Overwatch.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, so obviously there's growing pains going on, and I want to also throw out there that I'm absolutely appreciative of what they do.
Oh, yeah.
But I think
Oh,
I
yeah.
also want to put out there that I think that sometimes the communication with the players and
Swift coming through with the
besides-
follow. Your ears must have been burning, my friend.
oh my lord, hi Swift.
Swift.
I think
I sent you a party invite. Can you? We just want to ask your opinion on this real quick.
That may be
I know
what
you
Yes,
probably
we
don't want to
wanna-
speak to me.
That may have been what inspired him to jump in my stream.
Yeah, I may or may
That
not
might
have
have.
been telling him.
oh,
Wait, you were telling him, Carrot?
I was also DMing him, yes.
Oh, okay. Tell him to hop in here real quick if he can. It's
Uh, says on call right now, but maybe in the future.
No, yeah, he just put that in chat there. Yeah, not a problem, not a problem. You're such an impactful
listen
figure
in.
on in this scene. We would definitely love to hear your opinions on. We're just talking about. Awesome. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll definitely hit you up in the future. Because, like I was just saying, I mean, your opinions definitely carry a lot of weight, and clearly you've seen a lot in this scene. Oh,
So
we
while
just
we
had
are talking
Airborne
about
hop in the
Swift,
party here. Welcome,
while we are
welcome to the
talking
live
about
stream,
Swift real
Airborne.
quick,
What's up?
we were talking about people, our influential people to us, and mentors and stuff like that. And Swift, I know, we don't talk or anything like that anymore, but you were a very influential person into me getting into casting, and you were definitely a mentor towards me. So I would like to say thank you for that.
Boom. There you go.
We don't talk anymore.
All right, just to kind of catch everybody up, Airborne just hopped in on the call here, and with Swift hopping into the stream, I just wanted to kind of give a quick overview of what we've been discussing here. So obviously with the tweet on the screen, you get the gist of the conversation, but the perspective here is from a tournament organizer standpoint, from a player standpoint, and then from a production standpoint.
Aww.
So things that can be done from these different perspectives on ways to elevate our entire scene and break the glass ceiling, so to speak, on bridging the gap between us and Open Division. And I think the long-term goal is to create opportunities and to create a direct, what's almost a timeline, almost a path that can be followed to get from playing Overwatch on your Xbox to getting into part of the scene to then feeding into Open Division and continuing that path. But we've got to get elevated to a point where, well, we're not a joke.
More or less. We just need to get to a point where
So,
people.
I
know
would
who
like
we
to
are.
point out we are missing one person from this being a podcast.
This is
Where are you
already
at?
pretty much a podcast, and I don't know where
Smelly.
Ocean's at. Where's Smelly?
Smelly, where are you at?
Where's Smelly?
I was gonna, yeah, where's Smelly Ocean? I was gonna ask you after this, but I might as well do it now. Do you want to use this as a podcast?
We could just. I mean, Carrot Carrot gave the idea early in the stream. Like, are you guys doing a podcast? Like, no, we're just talking. But
To be honest,
Isn't that
I
what a
find this
podcast
more
is, though?
enjoyable than an actual, the podcast we've
Same.
been doing. So I feel like going forward, we might do this more.
I'm all about it.
I love this. I love this.
We can use this as a
think it's an
podcast
open
if you like.
forum. People are hopping in and out. We might not be allowing like everybody to hop in and out, but
But I like having the guest speakers, and I like people coming in and voicing their opinion. This is not something that's going to change, especially on this topic. This is not something that's going to change from just a top down. This is something that has to be in the hearts of every gamer involved in here, and those that don't belong. The scene is built to where those people just don't care as much, and that's it's responsibility of every one of us as individuals.
I think that we need to mirror what we want to see happen, though. We got to mirror the change that we want to have.
Yes, sir.
And that's something
We're
that
gonna
I've
have to
been
work. We're
that's
just gonna have
something
to
that I
work
try
toward
to
that.
do. But I also got to put it out there that when you run up against the people that are the toxic trolls, and I'm going to throw a name out there, and I don't care. I'm going to throw Katsuki's name out there.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
So let's refrain. Let's refrain a little bit. Let's have some sort of decorum.
Well, also, I don't want to
me?
get lost too much in details. Like, let's keep it to
Like
broad
me?
strokes.
I'm not going to go into details about it. I'm just saying you have to stand up to people like that. You can't let them run roughshod all over you. That's all I'm going to say on the subject.
Yeah,
There's
and I
people
think an
like-
accountability page could really help with that. I mean, something where everybody's got input on it, and it's kind of like Wikipedia the first year. It's probably going to be garbage for a little while until enough information accumulates to where you can decipher what's true. Or Angie's List, or even Yelp, or something like that. Like it's almost a Yelp for our players and
Overwatch
captains and
Yelp.
teams. Overwatch Yelp. I mean, that's pretty much what I'm proposing right now.
Over
It'll
Yelp.
be- it'll-
Over Yelp.
Just go no. Just go to
Yelp
Oi.
Watch?
It's Oi.
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 uh,
Console Yelp.
Console Yelp.
Console Yelp. There we go.
I am.
But
I'm
I mean-
washing my clothes for tomorrow at work.
I can hear it. I have
Thank
the same water.
Samsung?
Yes, this is Samsung. But I mean, I think that we need to mirror the change that we are, and I think that we need to stand up to the people that are actively trying to destroy our community. And that has to be a thing that has to be said. And that's something that Zeno said in his tweet response to Pop in Your Chart. He says that there has to be more accountability to the people that are doing this. There has to be bigger fines, bigger
Smurfing.
bans. The smurfing. Yeah, I mean, the trolling, the smurfing, the harassment
I really
when they gather in groups and start going after a player.
I really think that's where an accountability page would come in very handy. I mean, you keep record of all this stuff. You keep record
not
of
to
all
point,
of the
fingers and
drama.
stuff like that. But I mean, look what N7 tried doing to Travis.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
that's
and,
calling
like-
out an org right there.
I feel
Yes,
like, and I'm personally not going to name any names.
Yeah, let's
but
try to
this is an
refrain
issue
from
that
that.
could be.
Yeah.
This is an issue that may end up rearing its ugly head within the future. Is apparently a lot of people in a specific org have an issue with me, even though I personally don't know what the issue is, and they've been actively trying to find dirt on me or try and find something on me to either report me to CGL or something of that sort. And they keep and for some reason they keep thinking that I'm out to get them when I personally don't really care about them. But
And
I feel
that's-
like this is
Always out to
gonna be
get
an
you.
issue.
And that's, I think you bring up a valid point just in that I think one of the fallacies of this accountability page would be false information. And I think that's why it would take time for it to really be useful. I mean, the first month, it would be hard to disseminate between what's true and people just making things up to try to get somebody else in trouble. Now, that's where over time you start seeing patterns. And I think those patterns are what would be really indicative. I don't think you could take one single post on an accountability page as law. Now, if you have 7 different teams saying that they tried out this guy and he was toxic and horrible, then the other teams know, hey, maybe we shouldn't give this guy the time of day. Or, so like we were talking about with scrims or whatever the case may be. I think it could be an all-encompassing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot down to orgs that forfeit all the time or never show up to scrims. I don't know, whatever the case may be.
Or never show up on time. Like I can say, like my org Memento Mori is notorious for starting late, just because we can't seem to figure out what lineup we want to run. I'll be the first to say that we're notorious for starting like 10 minutes late.
Well, I mean, that's probably something y'all should tighten up.
We're getting better at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
For the last couple times we've had everyone in the party and everyone in the
I mean,
custom game
would never
20
fly-
minutes
it would-
before.
It would, yeah, it would never fly on a contender. It would never fly on a contender strategy. That would never fly. So I mean, I think that we need to hold ourselves to that higher standard.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. Is I really want to hold us to a higher standard of doing the right thing, even when nobody's looking. That's something my dad said to me that stuck with me. Not very many pearls of wisdom from that man, but that's one of the things that actually stood with me. Is
that is the
do
definition
right
of
thing.
integrity.
Yeah, do the right thing even when nobody's watching. So I'm going to personally stand up for people that are being bullied. Just because I was bullied as a kid myself, I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to take it, and I'm not going to let the trolling happening and all the discords that you see. It happens, and I'm finally hit my breaking point with seeing these packs. I think that's part of the professionalism, and that's part of the we're considered a joke, is because our communities, our Xbox communities, are so effing trash because they allow these packs of players to get into all these multiple servers and just absolutely dominate anybody that has a different idea than their own.
A server like mine, a server like ours, because Billy's actually in the server with me now because he's the captain of my Tier 2 team. But a server like ours is we will, once we establish ourselves a little bit more, we're going to start accepting, just general people into our server. Maybe just as like, hey, you want to just come in and play Apex? You want to do this or that and the other? That's something we plan on doing once we settle ourselves a little bit more. There was we had a little bit of a turmoil in our org, but once we get everything settled, we're planning on letting people in, and we're not going to tolerate that. That's just something we don't tolerate. We don't do bullying. We don't do spamming. We don't do any of that stuff in our Discord.
No, and that stuff is good to see just across the board. I mean, we had Disero in here earlier saying, he is really strict on his team's teabagging. Like he just does not allow it. He's very strict on it. Doesn't think it's good sportsmanship. And I mean, I can appreciate that. Now, obviously, the teabagging thing has been an interesting point of topic of interesting topic of conversation on the Twitter in the past couple days.
Tier
But
3 finals whatsoever.
I mean, teabagging's been around as long as online gaming.
Video games.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just like spiking a football. I don't think it's so much, and that's a personal opinion. I mean, that's.
And I mean, like I can.
So, but
I'll be the first person to say, like, I don't like my team teabagging. I will tell them no, and I have benched people for teabagging. I feel like there's a little bit of gamesmanship in it personally, but once it gets over excessive, that's when I take issue with it.
I don't want to really get into the nitty gritty on his teabagging, insulting or not, or BM or not. My point is more that it's that accountability and it's that holding a higher standard, whatever that is to you. I think is super important. And just generally being respectful. I mean, if you're a respectful org and a respectful team that appreciates, your opponents for being there and appreciates a good challenge and a good game, I don't think they're going to bitch that you teabagged once in the game or that you teabagged 10 times in the game. If you're a generally respectful and good organization, to me, that's outside of it. That's like complaining because somebody spiked a football.
I also feel like if, like, let's say you're scrimming, there's a difference between scrims and, CGL games. Like, let's say your best friend's on the other team, and you're well aware that you're going to BM each other just because you've known each other for so and so many years.
Yeah, but you're talking about such a 1 in a million happenstance.
Yeah, niche thing.
That's such a niche thing. What we're talking about is elevating our entire scene, and that the behavior from match to match is integral in how we are perceived.
Oh yeah,
and because we're creating divide. And I think that's where we get into problem. That's where the bullying really comes into effect. That's when these, these mass, what's the word I'm looking for?
Target thing?
No. Almost like a protest, like these mass protests that you see with the, all the pings coming out, all this kind of stuff. It's just creating divide. It's not. It's an extreme immaturity. Now, I do understand. Night Rider made a point earlier, like, hey, we're trying to ask a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds to suddenly behave maturely. Well, I mean.
I'm a mature adult. What are you talking about?
I'm not saying you're not, and I'm not saying they're not out there. I'm just saying as a blanket statement, that's a hard approach to just be like, hey,
No, I mean,
everybody, be better, please.
I'll be the first.
I mean,
I'll be the first person to say that I'm not mature all the time. I feel like it can usually be mature, but I'll be the first to say I'm not mature all the time, and I'm 23 years old.
well, and that's where real accountability comes into play. And I think that's where an accountability page would really help this from the entire player perspective.
And I do agree that CGL should be a bit not take more risks, but I feel like just CGL in general should just be a bit more. We have proof that this guy is smurfing. He has said it. He has this. He has that. And then they take either their sweet time or they say, well, it was during this or this or this. I feel like if a player just randomly goes from, like let's say they go from 3,200 to 4,300, they shouldn't still be allowed to play in Tier 3.
Well, that's okay. Hold on. Let's not get lost in the specifics of it, because there are a lot of different instances that could be brought up here. But I think an accountability page would transcend just CGL. This needs to be something that is available for all of Consolewatch. This needs to be something that tournament organizers could look at in the off season and say this team is notoriously bad for this. Is
it'd be for multiple tournaments like the Defeato tournament or D9.
It would run all of Consolewatch. I mean, it would cover, in my brain, it would cover players, so that you could see individual players that have been reprimanded multiple times, or that different scenes in different tournaments or different organizers have had issues with multiple times. You could see it from a team standpoint. And also, I mean, things... I think you would be able to see, if somebody was accused of something in the D9 tournament, I think there should be a log of that. Hey, I filed a report that this happened in D9. Even if it's not and I'm not thinking of any instance in particular. This is not about anything specific. This is just a hypothetical. But
if something were to happen in Overguard, you would want to know about it come CGL.
But even if Overguard wasn't the one to report it, I think that's the trick. Because if D9 said, if I was just sticking with that example, if D9 failed to take action or didn't find any proof, but you still saw that somebody said, hey, we had this incident and this... this is what made us believe it. And then in the next tournament, you have a different team coming out saying, hey, we had this incident, and this makes us think that they're cheating or whatever. And then you see a pattern forming, but they weren't ever quite able to pin down enough proof to ban them or to put it out there like, yes, 100%, here we go, there's a badge of cheater. But you see this pattern that the same teams you're having the same issues over and over again. I mean... I think this kind of stuff will create accountability and it'll take the power out of the individual's hands and put it in the people's hands.
So we're basically just putting it to the point where we want the console gaming community to police itself to an extent.
So
It's an idea.
I have a question. Not saying that we would do it, but what if a Twitter account was made and people just report there?
So this was actually tried. The whole
was.
union of teams or whatever, the full blacklist, everything like that. Right after CGL ended, I believe it was the Patriarch Petrichor.
Yeah, I know.
Petrichor. It was the United Nations of Overwatch.
Whatever, something like that. It failed.
And it was Petrichor. Oh my gosh! It turned into a witch hunt.
And that's the danger. That's the danger.
People. It's not necessarily blacklisting people. It's just a complaint. Like,
we're looking to make it more of a complaint, not a hey, blacklist this team.
Correct.
We're looking to make.
Correct.
We're looking to make it.
That's why I say it's like an Angie's List. I don't know. I wouldn't go on Yelp or Angie's List, read one review, and be like, I'm never going to that restaurant ever again. No, it was this one person's opinion.
Yeah,
I'm going to use my org. I'm going to use my org as an example. Memento Mori. So it'd be like a Angie's List page where you have multiple reviews on Memento Mori. 5-star, they're a great team to work with. This 1-star, they cheated. This, that. Not specifically like 1-star, 5-star reviews, but I'm talking like you can go look for that team's key name. You can like literally go into a Discord if it's in the Discord.
It's an idea.
Type in Memento Mori, and you can see every single comment made about Memento Mori.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to. We're getting a little bit too in the details of this, but I would be.
I know.
I would be afraid of adding
We're
too
giving
much.
you ideas.
I would, yeah, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. I would be afraid of adding too much noise to the mix. You want it.
Yes.
What if you just made a rating system?
Jesus Christ.
Ooh.
Make an
Ew.
entire website based around every single team.
You just.
Oh my lord.
No, I mean not like that. Like, hey, we're gonna give Mental Mori a 5-star rating because they show up late.
Oh, okay.
A 4-star rating. It would be 5 stars if they showed up on time, like that.
Yeah,
I was about to say, like, we get a 5-star for doing that? Shit, we need to be like an hour late.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know exactly
What if
how
you
this
gave, like, a starring
materialized.
system to teams, you know?
Well, it's just like there's plenty of things to do, but I do like the idea of kind of making like a record of see if you can find a pattern for specific teams. So maybe one team is always doing this one thing, and it's just a constant issue. Either
Yeah.
they fix it, like if it gets to a point, like let's say a year down the road, this becomes a thing, and one specific team has consistently always been late or consistently always had this suspicious activity, and it's just happened every single
We're
tournament.
consistently douchebags at scrims. I mean, even something simple
Yeah,
of just
there
they're jerks and they're not good to play with.
I mean, kind of just
Oh,
after
that's a
it's really
slippery
it's basically
slope.
It is a slippery
Yeah,
slope. It's a very slippery slope, and you don't want it to turn into a witch hunt. Like that would
Yeah.
be the danger of it all. All right. We're at 2 hours here. I'm gonna take a quick pee break.
Oh boy,
No.
2 hours.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're 2
is
hours in.
Bullskunk leaving for a second?
Just for a split second. Y'all can talk all you want, but chat will rat you out. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Hey,
Bullskunk is smelly.
I am not.
the father.
I am not smelly.
waiting-
I smell
We are waiting
delicious.
for the adult to leave. We are waiting for the adult to
Delicious.
leave.
Wait, I'm not
Confirmed,
leaving
we're
though.
waiting for the.
No one has to. I'm just going to pee real quick. I'll be right back. Y'all talk amongst
Are you
yourselves.
taking us in the bathroom with you?
No, absolutely not.
Please do.
I also have a microphone like actually on a mic stand. Like it's not exactly portable.
It could be.
Yeah.
Christ.
Why don't you grab a cup? Just grab a cup.
On that note.
Don't be afraid.